Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. Let's jump gears. Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin joins us. Kyle, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, and you, Moon?
I'm doing superb. All right, Kyle, Claire Taylor, an advocate. So every time I do an advocate article, I laugh because I never know if they got any truth in it. I don't. I'm just so convinced that the journalism there is not good. Now, this lady has got some credibility, but still, I worry about it. Secretary of State to withhold voter lists from Lafayette Council candidates until August 1st. This is an article that popped out either yesterday evening or this morning, and they're saying candidates for the district are being hindered from campaigning because the Louisiana State Secretary of State office, which you run, will not release a list of registered voters in the 5 new city council districts, despite a judge order to make the changes detailed on a city parish council ordinance. So what is the real deal? What's going on, and are you in violation of anything?
I don't believe I'm in violation of anything, Moon. The law doesn't require me to have lists available until 5 days before qualifying so that we can make certain that the lists are accurate. You know, these are the kinds of stories that confirm why citizens are so distrusting of the press. You know, we wouldn't be in this position right now if the Lafayette City Council hadn't created this problem. And unfortunately, the 15th Judicial District only compounded it. I mean, had the council taken its time and involved all the necessary parties from the get-go, none of this would be an issue. My purpose in all of this is to get clarity of the judicial ruling because there are over 60, well, not right at about 60 governing bodies across this state that's going to be affected by this situation because they are also under home rule charters, and the entire statewide election code is going to be impacted. I'm not about the politics of this, Moon. It doesn't matter who's running for what offices. It doesn't matter how many offices Lafayette creates. If this was happening anywhere else in the state, I'd be handling it just as I am today. The purpose is to make sure that when we do elections, we have to do it right from the get-go. I don't have a second chance or a second bite at the apple. And no matter how many times you look at this, it is still the same thing. You can put as many patches on a pair of jeans as you want, but there's still a hole in the jeans. And I've got to make sure that this election is done right from the get-go. And I'm not going to be forced into a corner for political purposes or to take up for political candidates. I mean, there's just
my next question is this coming from a certain candidate? Is this coming from a certain group? Is this coming from the left? Is it coming from the right? Do you know who's coming, who's bringing all this? And then they focusing, look at Kyle Ardoin, look what the Secretary of State's office is doing to us, because here I ran into a couple and said, well, what is Ardoin doing? Why won't he release it? I said, well, there's laws. I'm sure he's trying to go by the laws that he governs under.
Well, you can't release a list you don't have yet, quite frankly. And once the plan is implemented, once we get clarity from the 3rd District Court of Appeals, then we can implement the plan and provide whatever list. But I'm not going to be forced into giving lists that don't exist.
Well, hold up. You're waiting for the 3rd Court of Appeal to do something, to make a ruling on something. Then why are these people wanting you to make a ruling before you know what direction you have to go?
Because these politicians are putting their ambitions ahead of getting elections right in the state of Louisiana.
Okay. So there's people behind this then?
Yes, there are.
Okay. And so you feel like the story that's been written is kind of I'm going to call it totally fake news, but it's not justified because you're waiting on a ruling. And if the 3rd Circuit Court of Appeal would make the ruling today, then you make it move.
That is correct. I think there's an agenda behind the article that was written. I believe the article was mostly written before I even was interviewed for it. So, whoever's got the agenda, I just want the people of Lafayette to know my agenda is to do the right thing, to hold the elections at the right time, and with the right information. And I'm not going to be forced into a political decision. I'm here to uphold the Constitution of the state of Louisiana. I was elected to do that. This is not a political office. This is an office of following our laws, our policies, and our procedures. And that's at the heart of the issue.
Yeah. Now, Kyle, when you break all this down and you really look at it, I think something that you said when you first came on, this goes back to the parish president and the council who screwed this up from the beginning. It's like, look, let's just blame Kyle Ardoin. Let's just blame the Secretary of State for our screw up. There's nobody in this area that don't think that thing got screwed up the way it was voted on and everything else. There's nobody here that believes that. They look like they're trying to put a spin to take the pressure off the people that caused the problem in the first place. We have no problem if they'd have did it right from day one. And that's what you said at the beginning of the conversation we started with.
That's right. It's easy for them to point fingers now at at me as Secretary of State or the Attorney General, but we have to look at the statewide ramifications of this. And not only did they mess up, but the 15th Judicial District Court ruling compounded the issue and created a much more statewide issue. And so that's why we had to go to the Court of Appeals. We have to have clarity to this because it's not going to affect just Lafayette. It's going to affect 60 other governing bodies across this state. It's not an easy thing. Okay. It's not easy to explain, but it's a serious issue, and I'm not going to back down because of political pressure.
Okay. In the article, she wrote that Lafayette attorney Gary McGoffin, I hope I'm saying that right, said the Secretary of State's office has had the corrected council district description since the May 8 trial when they were presented by the demographer, Mike Hefner. This guy, lawyer, represented six of more than 300 City of Lafayette voters who won't have a council district without the council correction. How do you respond to that?
Well, the judge didn't sign his order until the 28th of May. So, you know, he may say, oh, yeah, it was there, but the reality is that the judge didn't sign the order, so there was no order until May 28th. And then we had to look at the written order to understand what the judge was trying to say, which created more confusion, compounding the problem, thus requiring us to go to the Third Circuit Court to get more clarity. I don't know how much plainer I have to put this for people, but they're obviously looking at their own political futures and not looking at the political or the election code needs for the state of Louisiana for us to continue running elections appropriately and to apply this situation to all possible other changes. When you rush into reapportionment and you don't include all
by the way, it was rushed into here, trust me. It was rushed into here.
And when you don't include the right partners, Moon, you're going to have mess-ups. This was a mess-up from the get-go. Not handling it the right way, and I suggested to them how to handle it the right way, and they chose to do it the other way. And the fact is, you can't amend the Constitution without a vote of the people. How do you amend the whole new charter without a vote of the people? And when you create it and the judge calls it reapportionment, guess what? It starts affecting other governmental bodies because of that. Yeah. That one word, reapportionment.
One of the things it said, essentially, if voter lists are released now, and the appeal court rules against Strawhorn's decision, you're saying it'll create new chaos.
It will.
What will that create?
It creates effects of almost 60 other governing bodies that could use this as a standard for making changes. And immediately we have to make changes to the election code, and you can't do that without going to the legislature. So we would be in flux with current law versus judicial rulings, and it throws our election code into chaos.
Now you've alluded to it twice now. You're not looking at this as just the Lafayette case. You're looking at this as a whole state case, where 60 plus areas can now do something that's not right if this is not done right.
That is correct.
And so you're not just looking at this. So people in this area that are saying, well, Ardoin is playing politics. You're not playing politics. You're making sure. I'm asking you. You're just trying to make sure that when it's done right. That way the other 60 areas can do the right thing. If not, we will have total chaos. Pretty soon they'll be telling us we can't have elections because of all the chaos. And I think, if I'm reading you right, I think that's what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying. When you have 26 parishes and 34 municipalities across the state of Louisiana that can be affected by this, and they can begin making changes at will, then you have a serious set of issues. I explained all this to the Advocate yesterday, but they wrote an agenda-driven story. I am.
By the way, they didn't say much of what we're talking about, really.
No, they didn't. But I went through it very clearly with the reporter, and I spoke very plainly about why we need clarity, the situations that we're facing. Look, I don't get a second bite at the apple for elections. I either put it on right the first time or I'm in trouble. The council got 2 bites at the apple. They may get a 3rd bite at the apple, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is, elections have to be done right from the get-go to keep the public's trust and their confidence in our system. And that's what I am working to do.
Let me take a break, a few more questions. But it looks like to me, from a guy looking at it from a distance, even though I live here because I don't dabble in too much of the local stuff, is that they're trying to make sure they're not blamed when all this blows up. They want you to be blamed. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. Kyle Ardoin, Secretary of State, will take a break. Everything he's talking about affects you in Louisiana. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Kyle Ardoin with us. The article in The Advocate accusing him of not putting out, allowing people to come get. I guess they're trying to get the names of the peoples on the voter rolls in their district. Is that correct?
That's correct, man.
And Kyle, let me ask you a question. If you had to talk to all these candidates that are going to be out there, and I take it there's been a couple of them complain about it, and that's kind of how the story all got started. It's all politics behind it. What do you tell them at this point? What do you're talking to them? Let's say all of them were listening to the program today, and they should be. What would you tell them? What do you tell them about this?
I would tell them I've got to get it right from the get-go. You would much rather an accurate list of all voters eligible to participate in the election before qualifying, rather than a list now that's going to be inaccurate, and then you'd have to end up getting another one. So accuracy is much more important to our office and to how we do things than anything else, because we don't have the opportunity to get it right a second time. We have to do it right the first time. I'm not going to rush into this and have inaccurate lists out there and then be criticized for that. They're choosing their political agenda over us making sure we get this issue right. Up until this point, the Advocate had covered this issue factually based, and now they hit me with an agenda-driven article. I mean, I don't have the opportunity to speak to every single voter personally in Lafayette Parish. So like many, we depend upon the media. But instead of reporting on facts, the Advocate, along with evidently some candidates that are trying to run for office, hit me with a political agenda. But my agenda is to do the right thing, to follow the Constitution and to follow the law. You and
Attorney General Jeff Landry filed a request expedite the appeal, keeping in mind qualifying in the last fast approaching election. What was that all about? Why were you drugging this to begin with? I'm just asking.
Well, there was a lawsuit filed originally, and on election laws, we're very careful to intervene because we, as the election agency for the state of Louisiana, I, as the chief elections officer, have to make ourselves available to the courts to explain the election code and the intricacies of putting on elections, so that we can get it right, so that the court has the knowledge they need to make a good decision.
Yeah, they're trying to say that you denying it to cancel the election, and I know you. I can't hardly believe that you're kind of doing it. Kevin Blanchard have fixed the charter, said Ardoin and Kishball standing in the way of the fall election, which the public voted on and support. I just can't believe in your position. I know you're not standing in the way to stop the election of what the people want.
That is farthest from the truth. when the judge made his ruling and how he made his ruling, it created more confusion. It compounded the problems.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at a much broader effect on this issue across the state. I have to stand up for the Constitution and laws of this state. That's what I took my oath to do,
Sure.
and that's what I'm doing. There is no political agenda for Kyle Ardoin in this. It would have been better off for me to be on the sidelines and not having any of this on.
I was about to say, you can't win being political in one little area. That ain't gonna help you.
Not at all. That's why there's little politics other than my own campaigning for the office. In fact, the law specifically prevents me as chief elections officer from being involved in other people's politics. This is not about politics. Lafayette can govern itself the way it wants to and elect whomever it wants to represent it on any council level, whether it's parish or city or whatever. I'm looking at the long-term effects for over almost 60 other jurisdictions that this will have effect of, and the state election code.
Let's be real blunt here. If they didn't screw it up by rushing it, none of this would be taking place right now. Absolutely zero.
Moon, you know how things used to be done prior to the Supreme Court striking down Section 4, thus affecting Section 5, that when any governmental entity went into reapportionment or changing their method of representation, all parties were involved because it took a lot of time to get it done because it had to be submitted to the U.S. Justice Department for approval. So we were all involved. The problem now we have is that they don't even involve us. They didn't even involve the registrar of voters. Mistakes were made. It created this mess. Regardless of what they may say, the judicial ruling only compounded the problem, and so we have to get clarity from the Third Circuit.
When do you think that's going to come? Do you have any idea when that's going to come?
I'm hoping that they will rule on our motion to expedite quickly. I was just on the phone this morning with the Attorney General discussing that, and he's going to get me an update on that.
So the quicker they do it, the quicker you can do what you have to.
That's exactly right.
All right, Kyle Ardoin, Secretary of State. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Moon. Appreciate you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Moon Griffon Show. Don't go nowhere, folks.